Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
And breaking news, a motorcyclist and driver are in the hospital after a crash on I-40 West. This is a live look right now at that scene where all lanes are closed.
All Raleigh high schools will have increased security today. The teen murder suspect police are looking for right now.
And it feels comfortable this morning. We're way down in the comfy zone, but things are about to change for the weekend. I'll show you our updated chances for rain for Saturday.
And early voting is supposed to start today with ballots being mailed out in North Carolina. The decision that could potentially pause those ballots going out today.
Also, the first game of the 2024 NFL season is in the books, ended just before midnight. This was a late and very close game. We'll show you the moment the Ravens lost to the Chiefs by just a toe. Might have been a toenail. It was that close to sending it into overtime. Yeah, very interesting. We're glad you're with us here on our Friday. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Kudos to you if you stayed up and watched the game and you're watching us now. For all those who did not, we'll show you what happened at the end of the game. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is in to show us what it's like outside and when the rain will be coming.
Beautiful out there right now. Completely clear. We're looking at a gorgeous start this morning. Temperature at 62. Our dew point at 59. We love it when those dew points are in the 50s. That's when it feels most comfortable this time of year. So a pretty start to the day for sure. We're going to see a lot of sunshine for it today. And then after midnight, or maybe closer to 10 or 11, depending on where you are, we'll likely see the rain begin. 54 right now in Roxborough, 63 in Rocky Mount, 62 Durham, 64 in Fayetteville. We take a look at our rain chances. We're looking at 0 during the daylight hours today. But overnight tonight, the rain rolls in and it will be with us on Saturday, at least for the first half of the day. And of course, I'm going to walk you through that with Futurecast in just a few minutes. Heading out the door this morning, we're in the 60s and it'll be a comfortable afternoon with some sunshine and highs in the low 80s.
I'm Nick Perlin in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker, where traffic is currently being blocked here at I-40, and all lanes are closed because of a crash that happened a little bit further down I-40 West. We know this crash involves a motorcycle and a car. I want to show you some video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker, and you can get a better look at this crash. You can see here, obviously, Raleigh police blocking the highway here, and you can see that motorcycle as well as the car that was involved in the crash. We do know the motorcyclist was taken to the hospital with serious injuries, and the driver of the car was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. At this point in time, we're still trying to figure out who was at fault in this crash, if any charges will be filed, and of course, when this will clear up for your morning commute. We'll stay on top of all the new information we will continue to learn throughout the morning. Live in Raleigh, Nick Perlin, WRAL News.
Also breaking news we're following this morning. There will be increased security today at all Raleigh high schools as authorities search for a teen murder suspect. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from the Raleigh Police Department. And Kelsey, police say the person they're looking for was seen inside several Raleigh high schools over the last couple of days.
Jeff, we're working to find out which schools he's been spotted in, but this morning officers will be leaving the Raleigh Police headquarters to offer extra security at high schools across the area. So here's what we know so far about this teen murder suspect. His name is Sincere Pigford. We're asking police about his age, but we do know that he's under 18. There's a warrant out for his arrest on a murder charge. Police have tried to find him multiple times, and again, he's been spotted at several Raleigh high schools over the past 2 days. We'll give you another look at his photo now. The Wake County Sheriff's Office is also working on this investigation. Police say they are sending this extra security today to schools just out of an abundance of caution. We'll be sending out a crew to high schools this morning in the area to check for that increased security. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
The 14-year-old accused of carrying out a mass shooting at a Georgia high school will make his first court appearance today. Prosecutors say they do plan to try Colt Gray as an adult. There are also 2 prayer vigils held for the victims tonight, one hosted by the town of Winder, another hosted by another high school in that area. For the first time, we are seeing the mugshot of Gray's father, who was also arrested. 54-year-old Colin Gray has been charged with manslaughter, second-degree murder, and cruelty to children. Investigators say he told them he bought his son the rifle used in the shooting as a Christmas gift. We also know he was interviewed by deputies just last year when several anonymous tips were given about his son making threats online.
The first absentee ballots for the 2024 election cycle could be mailed out at noon today. That's the deadline of the North Carolina Court of Appeals to issue a ruling about whether Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s name should be removed from those ballots. Wake County Judge Rebecca Holt ruled yesterday Kennedy's name will remain on the ballots despite his request to be removed after he dropped out of the race and endorsed former President Donald Trump. Holt gave a noon deadline for an appeal to her decision. If Holt's ruling stands, the ballot mailing process will start today. If the appeals court overturns it and rules Kennedy's name must be removed, the start of mail-in voting could be delayed by weeks.
If you are voting by mail, you'll need to include a photocopy of your ID with your ballot. This is the first presidential election in North Carolina to require photo IDs. If you don't have an approved ID, you can get one at the DMV, but your county board of elections may be a quicker option.
Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump is scheduled to speak in Charlotte today. He'll speak to the Fraternal Order of Police's National Board of Trustees. This will be Trump's fourth visit to North Carolina since Vice President Kamala Harris became his opponent. Meanwhile, Harris's campaign is launching a weekend of action with more than 2,000 events happening across the country. Harris and Trump will debate each other for the first time Tuesday, and you can watch that right here on WRAL.
The NFL season opener between the Kansas City Chiefs and Baltimore Ravens wrapped up minutes before midnight. It looked like it was going into overtime until an official review gave the Chiefs a last-second win. The Ravens lost by a toe. Seriously. Tight end Isaiah Likely's toe was out of bounds on a would-be touchdown in the final seconds of the game. The Chiefs got the win, 27-20. They picked up where they left off in last year's Super Bowl as they try to become the first team ever to win 3 Super Bowls in a row.
And, of course, it was the question everyone was asking, would Taylor Swift be at the game? And, yeah, she was. Video proof. She was hanging out with boyfriend Travis Kelce's family. She was seen cheering on the team with both Donna and Ed Kelce, his parents. Swift is on a break between the European leg and the second North American leg of the Eras Tour. Now, shows will start back up again in Toronto in November.
Tonight, the Philadelphia Eagles will take on the Green Bay Packers on a different continent. The two teams spent yesterday practicing in Brazil ahead of tonight's game. The game will be available only on Peacock outside of Green Bay and Philadelphia. For a guide on how to watch it, go to WRAL.com and search NFL Friday.
And the Panthers begin their season Sunday on the road against the New Orleans Saints. You can watch that Sunday at 1 o'clock on Fox 50. And don't change that channel when that game is over. The Dallas Cowboys take on the Cleveland Browns at 4:25. 8:15 Sunday night, you can switch it over. WRAL for the first Sunday night football game of the season. It's the LA Rams facing the Detroit Lions.
Your time is 4:38 this morning. Good morning. I'm Chris Levinger in the WRAL Live Center with a breaking update within the past 5 minutes. U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin just announced that President Biden will be announcing today a $250 million security assistance package for Ukraine. This will be to help meet Ukraine's defense requirements that they have right now as they fend off Russia. This is all being announced during what's called the Ukraine Defense Contact Group. It's made of more than 50 different nations meeting to talk about what defense need Ukraine needs. Secretary Austin said, quote, "Time is of the essence, especially with winter on its way. We must all step up in support of Ukraine."
Chris, thanks. The student newspaper at UNC reports UNC Chapel Hill's Diversity and Inclusion Office no longer exists on campus. The Daily Tar Heel reports the change comes after UNC's Board of Governors repealed the diversity and inclusion policy for the entire system. It's unclear how many staff members will lose their jobs as a result of the change. WRAL reached out to the university and members of the board. We have not heard back. A Boeing Starliner spacecraft is scheduled to come home today without the 2 astronauts it's supposed to bring back to Earth when it will undock from the International Space Station.
Well, it's a wild sight in a downtown Raleigh neighborhood. Coyotes caught on camera. How you can keep yourself and your pets safe.
And here's a live look at Wilson. We have a rainy Saturday ahead. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is tracking your chances for storms.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
It is 4:42, and we're taking a look outside. Feeling comfortable, very similar to yesterday. 62 in Durham and in Raleigh, and it's 64 in Fayetteville. Our skies are clear right now. It looks really lovely, but overnight tonight, we will end up with the potential for some rain, and that's going to be with us at least for the first half of the day on Saturday. There are going to be some salvageable hours, certainly, to be out and about, and we'll take a look at that coming up. Mainly clear this morning, though, feeling very pleasant. Our humidity is nice and low. Temperatures are in the mid-60s as you're heading out, so a very nice walk with the dog this morning with those temperatures in the 60s. At lunchtime, 79, and we'll see highs around 83 this afternoon. So we continue with some beautiful weather. And once our front comes through on Saturday, Sunday looks good, and so does much of next week. I'll show you what it will feel like.
Breaking news here in the WRAL Live Center. Within the past 5 minutes, we have heard from the spokesperson for Chapel Hill that there is a crash that happened on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, and that has closed partly between Hillsborough Street and Boland Drive. I'm trying to zoom in here for you, and actually what I'm going to do is step slightly off camera and kind of zoom in and show you here. This is again in Chapel Hill, and there are currently 615 customers without power. I can at least see here on the map. So here you see MLK Jr. Boulevard, and then again, it's closed between Hillsborough Street, as you see right here, and then Boland Drive, which is right over here. We're being told that there are power lines that are down because the driver hit a pole, again, bringing that down. No injuries being reported, but we're hearing from the spokesperson that drivers heading into town should use Fordham Boulevard or Raleigh Road in the meantime. Right now we have officers that are out there kind of handling that situation. We'll try to work on getting some images here in the WRAL Live Center. But again, this is affecting people who are going to be using Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard because a car crashed into a pole.
Chris, thanks. Boeing's Starliner spacecraft will attempt to return to Earth without a crew today. Starliner's first trip to space with people did not go as planned after launching in June after the spacecraft leaked helium in its propulsion system. NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams were only supposed to be in space for 5 days. Months later, still no exact timeline of when they will return to Earth. Engineers here on Earth say it's only safe to bring back the capsule uncrewed at this time. The Starliner is scheduled to depart the space station tonight at 6, then touch down around midnight in New Mexico.
Ahead of his visit to Charlotte today, former President Donald Trump is expected to attend an appeals hearing this morning in the E. Jean Carroll defamation and battery case. Trump's lawyers want to try to overturn the civil court verdict that orders the former president to pay $5 million to Carroll. Each side will be given 10 minutes to argue their case. The judge will not make a decision today.
Take a look at this. A fire destroyed a car inside a parking deck in downtown Raleigh. This happened at the Lincoln Apartments on East Target Street just after 7 last night. The woman who owns the car tells WRAL she had just driven it earlier in the day. No word yet on the cause. No one was hurt.
Hunter Biden will be sentenced in December after pleading guilty to several tax-related charges. After making his plea yesterday, the president's son said he did so to spare his family from going through a trial. A U.S. district judge accepted Hunter Biden's guilty plea on all 9 tax-related charges he faced. He said he committed the crimes during a period of intense addiction. He faces a maximum sentence of 17 years in prison. Biden is also scheduled to be sentenced in a separate case in November. Earlier this year, a Delaware court convicted him of 3 felony counts tied to possession of a gun while using narcotics.
Covering Wake County, a coyote roaming around a neighborhood in Raleigh, and it was all caught on camera. This doorbell cam video shows the coyote on Perry Street this week in the 5 Points neighborhood. It's unnerving for neighbors with pets and children. Some safety tips: do not leave trash outside, and it helps to have a fence higher than 6 feet that a coyote can't climb. Veterinary experts say the risk to humans is low.
It's incredibly rare for a coyote to attack a human. They're very skittish. They would rather run away.
In May, WRAL reported on a scary encounter between a coyote and a woman's pet outside her home in East Raleigh. Thankfully, it wasn't hurt. And last December, we covered another spotting in the 5 Points area.
Saw one on the way back from the beach this week. Oddly enough, how about that? Ran right across the road in the middle of the day. Weird. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now with a look at downtown Raleigh and our change coming on the way.
Yeah, today's going to be a nice one. Get out and enjoy. There's still a lot of things happening across our area for today and tonight, and all looks good up until we get to around 10 or 11 o'clock tonight. That's when we're going to start to see the rain rolling on in. 62 is our temperature. We have clear skies as we're taking a look here at downtown Raleigh. Our dew point's very comfortable, sitting at 59, and that's a measure of moisture in the atmosphere. It feels great. Lunch outside. Absolutely. It's going to be fantastic for that. We'll see mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies with a temperature near 80 at lunchtime, and it's going to feel fantastic. Of course, our humidity stays low again today. Around town this afternoon, 83 in Raleigh, 82 in Durham, and 85 in Fayetteville. So it's going to be a nice one. We're going to see our dew points climbing a little bit. I mean, right now we're in the comfy zone, but especially tonight and tomorrow as we have our front move through with that chance for rain, it'll definitely bump up the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. But once that front comes through, we're going to see a big dive. Feeling fantastic Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, much of next week. It's just Saturday that we're going to have to deal with. So 85 is our normal high. We're close to that today. Saturday and Sunday highs will be in the 70s, and then we're in the low 80s on Monday and Tuesday. This is a long stretch of temperatures that are below normal, and this is, kind of unusual for this time of year. We often still are dealing with 90-degree days, at least through the middle of September. So this has definitely been a nice treat. During the daytime today, no rain, but overnight tonight we'll start to see the showers, giving it a 60% chance on Saturday, and then Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday are nice and dry. Timeline for the rain on Saturday, typically this time of year, we're looking at afternoon and evening, but for tomorrow, it looks like the morning hours. It'll start before midnight tonight and continue up until around lunchtime or early afternoon. Might be a few rumbles of thunder, but if you had plans mid to late afternoon into the evening, you should be just fine. For tonight, Football Friday looks fine. Once we get to, say, 10 or 11, there may be, especially some of our southern counties, start to see some showers rolling on in, and we'll see increasing clouds with comfortable temperatures in the mid-70s. Charlotte plays here at UNC Saturday at 3:30. At 2 o'clock, if you're tailgating, it might still be a little bit wet, but by game time and beyond, it should be pretty dry. Temperatures will be in the 70s. And then NC State plays Tennessee in Charlotte, and it looks fine. That's a 7:30 p.m. game. Nothing to worry about there. The rain will be long gone. Sunday looks great, as I mentioned. Notice our morning lows in the 50s as we get into next week, looking fantastic. Coming up, we're going to take a little closer look again at Saturday and the weekend, plus the tropics, where there are a number of systems that could develop.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Red Lobster could be making a rebound. The plan to get back to business after an endless trip fiasco that led to bankruptcy.
And if you feel like this summer has been ultra hot, you're right. The record-breaking temperatures that have made this summer the hottest in history. What do rocket fuel and common foods like mac and cheese have in common? They both contain the same chemical, perchlorate. The EPA is now under court order to propose limits on perchlorate in drinking water by November of 2025. 5 on your side's Keely Arthur shares how you can avoid it right now.
It's hardly a household name, but perchlorate is a chemical that helps rockets reach for the stars and also alarmingly reaches for our dinner plates.
Perchlorates can enter our food and water via water that's used to irrigate the crops. It can also be contained in the plastic containers that we use to store our food.
In Consumer Reports tests, they found perchlorate in 2/3 of the foods, and things like boxed mac and cheese, baby food, even healthy foods like carrots and cucumbers. Of course, it did not exceed safety limits, but think about it. If you have more than one serving, it can really add up.
We're concerned because perchlorate can disrupt thyroid function, potentially affecting metabolism in adults and brain development in children.
Consumer Reports reached out to several food companies. None provided comments thus far on whether they're aware of and taking steps to minimize it in their products.
Parents should be aware of these issues, but should not panic. They can reduce the risk of these chemicals to their children by feeding them a varied and healthy diet.
Also, getting adequate iodine intake can help offset the chemicals' effects. Foods like whole wheat bread, seafood, dairy products, and eggs help you get your daily dosage of iodine without extra sodium from iodized salt. Keely Arthur, 5 on your side.
And if you're wondering if scientists only just discovered perchlorate is a problem in water and food, think again. It has been a known contaminant for years.
People across the world are feeling the heat. This summer is on track to be the hottest in recorded history. Scientists have confirmed the summer season broke global heat records for the second year in a row. And according to new data from the European Union Space Program, this summer was the hottest since 1940. Last month, Australia broke its national record for the hottest day with temperatures reaching 107 degrees. The summer season typically ends with the autumn equinox, which is on September 22nd.
Cape Hatteras National Seashore has expanded a beach closure in Buxton because of petroleum odors. The Army Corps of Engineers removed tanks and thousands of tons of petroleum from the former Navy site about 20 years ago. The precautionary expansion closes the beach from the southern end of beachfront homes in Buxton to about a quarter mile south of the old lighthouse jetties. The closure may change over the coming days based on the ongoing field observations.
Red Lobster is working to emerge from bankruptcy. A U.S. bankruptcy judge approved the seafood chain's reorganization plan and sale to a lender group. This comes just under 4 months after Red Lobster filed for bankruptcy protection as it pursued a sale. The chain closed a number of its restaurants in recent months, both leading up to and during the bankruptcy process. The acquisition is expected to close at the end of the month.
Covering Wake County, the Boylan Bridge just got a makeover. Take a look. The new pops of color there. The downtown Raleigh landmark now features native Venus flytraps and our state flower, the dogwood, among other nods to what makes North Carolina special. Local community groups teamed up with muralist Jay Masulo on this beautiful upgrade.
I love all the colors.
Yeah.
Breaking news. This is a live look now at I-40 West, where a crash involving a car and a motorcycle has shut down all lanes. We'll tell you how to get around this in Raleigh.
Also, all Raleigh high schools will have more security today. The juvenile murder suspect police are looking for this morning.
And the rollout of ballots in North Carolina is supposed to happen today, but a decision about RFK Jr. appearing on it may delay that.